this unanticipated massive onslaught that is basically displaced people in 7 local governments, 7 out of 21. That's 1/3 of the state is now being submerged and the inhabitants swept off. Farmlands, estimated at hundreds of billions, submerged underwater. And we're not talking about houses and homes, properties, and so on, totally under the water, as it were. The damages are incalculable. Probably by the time we finish, we'll be talking maybe at least $1 trillion or thereabout. Damaged roads, bridges. Now, so in fact, I was getting one early hours of this morning about, roads and bridges that have been cut off. So that after the whole thing is over, when the water level has more like stabilized, and hopefully in the next 2 weeks will begin to recede. But after that is done, we will need tens of billions, just to bring back life to normalcy. It's not way beyond the capacity of the state to deal with. This was unplanned. This was somewhere you're just sleeping and the morning and the tornado comes and takes you off. Unexpected. But what makes me a little bit surprised about is our unpreparedness in this country. Because I understand Cameroon warns about this. And so we know that every 2-3 years this happens. Cameroon will open up the dam. And then it comes here and wipes off everything. It's gonna get to a point where the water will come and envelop the entire country. And we've responded very expeditiously, promptly, and responsibly within, like I said, within the ambit of our resources. We have people in camps. Several have been resettled to, of course, majority. We have these communal relationships, and people, they are neighbors and friends, and they evacuate, and then they end up there. But there are thousands in camps where we have to provide them with water, with medical facilities, with infrastructure for people to sleep, food, medicine, and so on and so forth. Even we're putting solar power in several of the camps now to guarantee them access to power, so you can even charge their phones, and so on and so forth. The much we could. We've been responding. Our local government, we have a task force headed by my deputy governor, and they're responding in all the local governments simultaneously, as it were. But that's within the limits of what we could. And we've battled this for 2 weeks without the help from anywhere. And now, I think I understand yesterday, NEMA came with some items and so on. And I said, yeah, thank God there is something. But 2 weeks, thousands of people would have died. But we know that this was going to happen. And so on and so on. But the country, as a nation, we are caught unprepared. And my view is that, number one, it should be treated as a national emergency that it is. A national emergency. The National Assembly needs to convene for this purpose. And if they have to have supplementary budgetary appropriation of some hundreds of billions, if let's take, to send to these states, like yesterday, so that when these people return, how do they even start life afresh? How do they start? With everything they have wiped off. In Anambra's case, hundreds of thousands of people, their entire livelihood, the entire thing they owned, wiped off. How do they start? They will need something from government. That's why government exists. Way beyond the capacity of the state government to deal with. The roads and bridges that have been wiped off, the water is a very powerful force. It's broken. I have those on my phones because I get reports every hour. I get updates from all the local governments in terms of what is going on, and we'll strategize on the next line of action, what has to happen, where this has to go, and so on and so forth. This is what we do on daily and annual basis. And so far, unfortunately, some people died when they were evacuating them with their own boats, not the one that we provided. Some of them resisted leaving when they were asked to leave, and when it became overwhelming, they were now using their own boats and so on, because people have emotional attachment to the ancestral land. And so when we're asking them, leave, come out, some of them were still, no, it won't get here, it won't be too, until it became overwhelming, they decided to use their local boats to live. And unfortunately, that accident that in which tens of them, their souls rest in peace, and quite a devastating accident. But we got to pick the pieces. And for us as a state, we're preparing, even thinking about future ones, even to build these even camps, IDP camps of the future, and see how we prepare the much that we could. But this is way beyond the preparation of a state government. It is something that the nation needs a national plan. A national plan. We can't be having this devastation once every 3 years. It's predictable. Cameroon will open the dam. We know it. But what have we prepared as a response if they do? We have to do in this scenario analysis. What if they open it? What will be the consequence? And how are we prepared to deal with it? Not when it happens, we say, oh, it happened. No, we knew it would happen. You know, it didn't come like one tornado from the blues. You know, and it's happened every now and again. This is different from the occasional rainy season thing, you know, some rivers overflowing. We deal with this on a yearly basis here in the state and some other states. But this bid from Cameroon, this unlocking of the dam, why can't we build 2, 3, 4 such dams as if you like, circuit breakers, as it were? They break the speed which they come gradually and they empty into the Atlantic Ocean than coming like this massive thing with the destruction. We can't afford it as a country. You build bridges and roads and so on, then one flood is out, then you start afresh. Come on, you know.
Your Excellency Governor Charles Soludo, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.